Well, good howdy morning to everybody.
Morning.
I don't know. Probably morning somewhere for somebody.
No.
And if they watch this, they'll feel like, oh wow, they see me. Happy Raw. This is a long haul of a Raw.
I thought this was one of the better Raws that we've gotten in a while.
It was. It wasn't bad. It is one thing that we should point out. One of the first Raws in a really long time where there has been absolutely no presence from Drew whatsoever.
Yeah. Maybe after Survivor Series he's like taking a couple weeks off. It would make sense
I
since we're getting
somehow
like
doubt that.
but we're getting like a couple weeks of like finding out who's going to challenge him, you know?
He might be taking 2 weeks off, but I feel like it'll be weird if he doesn't have anything to say about matches come next week.
We'll see.
But
Um Tonight was weird though cuz two matches like were like restarted.
yeah. Um and several matches almost ended in count out, which kind of a strange ending.
Yeah.
Also no retribution this week.
No retribution. Um, yeah. I'm trying to think what else we didn't see. No Mandy and Dana. Um,
No Ricochet.
no Ricochet. Um, who else is on Raw? Um, I'm suddenly blanking on everyone who's on Raw.
Well, I don't know. Tonight was also a lot of a sausage party, honestly. Like a lot of men.
Um, but we also did have everything with Lana, Asuka, Shayna, Nia, and then we had Alexa and Nikki. Alexa and Nikki was supposed to be like the main event tonight.
That's fair, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't a bad night. It was just one of those nights where like they tell you what's happening in the beginning, and I'm like, it also did feel like there was not a. It felt a little discordant, like not in a horrible way, but just like in a way where it was like very much post pay per view, where it was like, "We'll fight you right now." It's
I,
suddenly
th-
they're in the ring, and you're like,
I think it was a little different. Not a bad different, but very similar to NXT. You know, the format was very similar.
there wasn't a lot of fluff, that's for sure,
Yeah, and we kind of had
and not a lot of story building.
the random you guys fight you guys in contention for the title. You know.
Yeah, dude, that was a weird ass promo because like I think that's another thing that kind of goes to show, and I bet you money that we'll see an article come Tuesday or Wednesday that they threw out the script for this only because of the Adam Pierce promos. That is the one thing that makes me think that shit was like a little off kilter.
Hmm.
Just because of the way that was filmed, where it was like Adam Pierce is literally like Charlie has not left this one spot.
Yeah.
And Adam Pierce just keeps coming back to her, and she's like, Adam, I saw you just walk off there. Can you talk about that? And it's like, I don't think you have to keep introducing yourself. I'm pretty sure he saw you just standing there watching. Okay. But anyways, so we are not here until 3 a.m. Shall we go into the news?
Yes, we shall. And thank you, Ryan, for following. Much appreciated. Welcome, welcome.
Okay, Ryan.
Hi-fi guy.
News. There we go.
Hell yeah. Let's get into the news.
News. The news is Charlotte still doesn't come back. That's it. That's the news.
We'll probably see her on SmackDown, honestly.
I'm gonna just jump into a vat of snakes.
Oh, all right. Cool. You think Charlotte will be down there?
I guess it's also called Snake Pit.
Yeah, a vat of
Maybe.
snakes.
Vat of snakes. I just imagine like a witch's cauldron just full of snakes. It's all coming out.
Or just like a chemical plant full of snakes. For some reason.
Anyways. I just don't like SmackDown. I also didn't brush my hair, and I think we kind of got a Becky Lynch thing going here. It's freshly washed and unbrushed, and it's just, hello, I'm haggard. Except she looks like that after, like, doing stuff, and I've just sat in office all day.
Kind of looks like the Dakota Kai look.
Yeah, my hair's been doing this new thing where if I tuck it, it's because it's so thick and, like, because it's shorter than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go all the way around my ear, so it just kind of, like, makes this, like, weird, I don't know, like, fake headband shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, enough about my hair. How about yours? So I don't know. Let's start with the weird one, I guess. Yeah, never mind. We're gonna start with Dave Meltzer. So Dave Meltzer stated in the most ridiculous Wrestle Talk article I think I've read in like a couple of weeks now. Dave Meltzer stated, Aleister Black has not been on TV, not because of Zelina or because he wants to go to NXT. And then said, but that isn't exactly helping his case right now. I was like, Dave, you can literally just say that Aleister isn't on TV because his wife got unceremoniously fired and he doesn't want to be around Vince anymore, and I'll accept it. I assume that's why.
I saw that article. I saw somebody posted it on Reddit, and there were a lot of people bringing up examples of how Dave Meltzer has said the same thing about other wrestlers who, like, then the next day get, like, a WWE title shot. So, like, you gotta take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, it is just rumors. Also, thank you, Golden Eagle, for following. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Pinfall podcast.
Hello.
I think some of the people that it was talked about were like Jinder Mahal,
Oops.
former WWE champion Jinder Mahal.
Just unbreak your leg, dude.
There's a whole list of names that Dave Meltzer has said are like dead backstage or something, and go on to get a huge push. So it might happen, it might not.
I just think it's like the timing is kind of like, because Aleister got written off in like the worst possible way because Vince, Paul was high on Aleister, then Paul left. Vince was like, I don't fucking care about this man. Rewrote him to be horrible. And now the Zelina thing happens, and it seems like that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
But also I'm hoping that like if they do end up bringing him back at some point and he doesn't just fuck off to like AEW or something, I do really hope that like he comes back with, I don't know, a little more fire in his tank besides, oh, Kevin Owens went home to spend some time with his family instead of defending me.
I hope he goes down to NXT.
Oh, we all hope that. We know it's not going to happen, though.
I mean, it very well might, because Vince doesn't really like him or his gimmick, and his peak was in NXT.
But I think the thing is that, like, it's one thing if Vince doesn't believe in, like, your talent so much, as it's another thing if Vince just does not fucking like you. If he was like, I don't have any use for this guy, there might be an argument for that, but because Vince just fucking does not like Aleister, I don't see him being like, well, let me give him a shot somewhere that'll actually make him happy.
Or Triple H could just say like, I like this guy. Let's bring him here. I'll take him off your back, Vince.
Yeah, Triple H would totally say anything to Vince that would make Vince potentially unhappy. Triple H is fucking terrified of that man.
Fine,
I can
Shawn
guarantee
Michaels.
you. There we go. The real backbone in the fucking company.
William Regal.
William Regal
backbone.
would like he just pull some like voodoo mind shit where he'd just be like, I know you don't want him. And Vince would be like, yeah, fine, take him. I don't care.
He'd be like, we're gonna have a gauntlet to find out where Alistair goes.
Whatever brand wins gets him.
AEW shows up. Impact shows up.
Vince breaks the legs of everybody on SmackDown and Raw. It's like, I don't want that. Anyways, outside of the sad news, let's get into the other piece of weird news. When the fuck is Tribute to the Troops happening? Wrestle Talk reported it happening on the 2nd. WWE says it's happening on the 6th, but War Games is happening on the 6th, and technically Tribute to the Troops is not like a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's during the day, I believe, on Fox. It is not that it's not like you're paying to see it. But it is just weird. It seems like nobody knows what the fuck is happening there. It seems like they just kind of put like this like logo up and they're like, this is gonna happen. And we're all like, when?
What time of day is it supposed to happen?
I don't know, but that further, because I thought it was supposed to happen during the day, but then Wrestle Talk, which I kind of trust, to like either be correct, or if they're not correct, they correct themselves pretty quickly. And the 2nd is literally, the 2nd's like, I believe, it's a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. And
Tribute is like a main roster thing. So, I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just putting too much fucking heed into Wrestle Talk. But it's just Tribute to the Troops has so much shit behind it that's like controversial that's happened. Like there's this rumor that I heard about Vince covering up a rape that happened at Tribute. Yeah. There's some shit background.
I also found something that's very confusing, but gives us a little bit more background. Huh?
I said, let's keep going then.
So what website is this? WrestlingInc.com. They said, Tribute to the Troops will air Sunday, December 6th on Fox in conjunction with the NFL games that are airing that afternoon. Tribute to the Troops will air at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time for viewers who have an NFL game airing at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for viewers with an NFL game airing at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. So it all depends on whether you have a NFL game at 4:05 or 1 p.m. It's being taped. It's not live.
No, I got that. It's just that there were easier ways for them to announce that. Anyway, I don't know if that's actually going to be something that we watch because we don't really watch football. I would love to, but also...
Well, it just works around the games, so it doesn't air during the games.
No, I understand that it's like a segment, basically, in between. But I don't feel like tuning into football just to watch the commercials.
Oh no, it's not happening
once a year.
It's happening after or before, because if there's an NFL game at 4:05 p.m., it airs an hour before. If there's a game at 1 p.m., it airs 3.5 hours after. I know it's confusing, but
the more confused I get, the less interested I am in watching it, honestly.
It's definitely its own thing, and if it's airing at 3 p.m. for us, that's great. Then we can work around War Games and watch both. But it looks like it is its own segment. I just want to know how long it is.
Let's put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If we do watch it, it will not be part of the podcast. I think that's safe to say. Unless something crazy happens.
Or we can combine it with War Games.
No.
Okay.
Our pay-per-view podcast already takes so long to get through. Adding another thing on top of that's why we took the news out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. I'd be interested in seeing it, but at the same time, it's like... eh. So the WWE trademarked somehow, because I guess they don't have these trademarks. I don't know. It didn't sound like they renewed the trademarks. It sounded like they
filed
for
them.
trademarks. Yeah. They wanted to trademark Legend Killer, the Big Dog, the Queen, and the Goddess, which is kind of exciting to me as well. I'm enjoying Alexa Bliss's current whatever the fuck is happening with her. I guess this means that at some point we probably will see Alexa Bliss return to Alexa Bliss.
What were the names again?
Legend Killer, Big Dog, the Queen, and the Goddess, which is Alexa Bliss's thing.
It was like
The Queen is Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I figured the Queen was Charlotte Flair. I mean, the Goddess might not necessarily be for Alexa Bliss. It could be for Charlotte.
Well, it's not, because Alexa Bliss's whole thing was the Goddess prior to being what she is now. So I don't know why they would just hand it down.
You don't think it could change at all? Just like, because Goddess is just like a general word, like legend.
Well, it's like you, right? But it's like that's like if they took Randy Orton right now and like Seth Rollins back in the day, and they said Randy Orton's the Legend Killer, and then like a couple years later they're like, oh, Seth's the Legend Killer instead of the Legend Slayer. Like, a nickname is a nickname for a reason. It's your nickname. Like if you got a friend that's named, I don't fucking know who has
Daniel
nicknames?
Bryan.
So for example, there's Daniel Bryan and there's Danny Burch.
Mm-hmm.
We call Danny Burch Danny Banani. I'm not turning around and calling Daniel Bryan Danny Banani. See?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's a generic one, obviously, but like because she's known as that in like her most iconic form, I don't see them just like being like, take it, someone, like a bouquet at a wedding.
It might also not mean that she's returning as the Goddess. It might just mean that they're trying to keep the Goddess title away from other promotions like AEW and stuff like that.
Well, more so what I'm saying is I think in the future she could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she's going to be like this forever. Obviously, no one is in the Wyatt family for that long. Besides Bray. I'm not saying like next week she's going to be the Goddess. I'm saying maybe in like a couple of years. Which actually, that's not even totally true, because her contract is up in about 3.5 years, and there's a good chance she's not going to come back after it. At least not for a while. Because she kind of wants to Becky Lynch herself and have a child. Where that was going.
Yeah.
Probably not my best choice of words. Anyways. So in non-news that is going to go under the news title, Edge was apparently backstage at Survivor Series, and everyone's acting like, haha, that means Edge is coming back. And I'm like, well, also every goddamn legend in the history of WWE that's still alive was backstage at Survivor Series, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Becky Lynch was backstage like not too long ago. I mean, we all also know that Edge is coming back. Like, that's not a shock at all.
Edge wants to come back.
Yeah, everybody wants Edge back.
I don't think Edge could like die happy if he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. But if it was like Brock Lesnar was backstage, that would be even bigger because there's no plans for him to come back.
Right. I mean, it's more so like, well, yeah, because Undertaker was there, Undertaker was leaving. Obviously, you're going to have like a lot of people backstage that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So Kenny Omega recently was quoted as saying that he wants the WWE and the AEW to have a working relationship.
God, if only.
And I said, sweet, sweet Kenny, we all want that. Ain't never gonna happen. Not in like the next 10 years, I'm sure.
Xavier Woods has been wanting that for so long. He's been wanting like Kenny Omega on Up, Up, Down, Down for a little while.
I think a lot of people who don't have beef with the WWE, so like everyone but like Chris Jericho and Miro, probably are like interested in that, because I mean that's a whole new pool of talent that's kind of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's people that you've wrestled with in other brands or other companies.
Also,
so I would love to see Kenny Omega and fucking like Adam Cole or some shit.
Oh, absolutely. Also, welcome Yeet Yeet to the chat. Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. But yeah, but I also don't think that Vince is open-minded enough to explore that venture, because that would require cooperating and working alongside somebody, not having somebody work for him.
Right, and these people are technically in his eyes stealing from his fucking wallet, so I don't see that happening, considering the money-hungry man that he is.
Right.
And our last piece of news for this evening, if I can open my phone, is an unlikely person decided to kind of break kayfabe a little bit. And by that, I mean, like, for about 5 seconds. Paul Heyman was, I believe, he was on TalkSport, and he was quoted as saying that Drew McIntyre is a god sent to the WWE. And went on to say, like, he's a magnificent performer, a tremendous human being, a fantastic representative of the WWE brand. He will end up with a championship reign that will be deserving of the Mount Rushmore of championship reigns. And then he went on to do his whole, I'm Paul Heyman, and I'd kill any man that comes within 5 feet of Roman's pride. But I thought that was like, I felt like I could see the real Paul Heyman there for a second.
It might have also been kayfabe, Paul, because Roman has kind of little to no beef with Drew right now. I mean, what beef there was recently was manufactured just for Survivor Series. After this, we're not going to hear a peep from them about each other for a while.
One interesting thing that I did read today is that they kind of want to market Jay as a cross-brand superstar. Which will lead to some interesting stuff. I think it's just because the pool of talent right now at SmackDown is so small.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're planning to do with Jay at this point, besides have him, like, quite literally murder Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And even that, I don't know if that's, like, a thing.
The only stuff I can imagine is just inner conflict between the Roman's faction. Just like Roman and Jay kind of...
I want that faction to grow.
Yeah, I want them to bring more family members into it. Even if they're not joining, just...
Jimmy.
Yeah. Jimmy introduced Naomi into it, Tamina, Nia, maybe...
I would like somebody from the Jimmy side of the family to come back to wrestling at some point soon also. Wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. But we won't get that for a while, I guess.
Jimmy's my new Xavier.
Is he, though?
Well, yeah, because Jimmy's been out for, like, this indeterminate amount of time, and I'm like, I see you're backstage. You gonna put some wrestling gear on?
Yeah.
You want to talk about these matches before? Don't we all? I miss Naomi. Everyone's like, Naomi deserves better, and Naomi's like, and yet my legs say the opposite.
Yeah, she's been injured, right?
I think so. I think she had, like, a knee problem.
Yeah.
I'd love to look it up on my laptop, but my laptop probably will break in half if I do.
I know there's a lot of people, like, on the internet mad at the WWE for not having Naomi as a part of anything, but also she's literally injured.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the vibe is right now. Of course, she's got, like, this long-ass fucking wrestling career. Okay, so in April at WrestleMania 36, in September, she underwent surgery to remove a fibroid, which is not something I know what that is. So I'm just gonna assume that that takes a little while to heal from. But it doesn't help that she was gone for so long in the first place. Like, she was, like, so sparsely used. Like, it feels like she's been gone since Jimmy was gone.
Yeah, honestly.
Remember when they used her to determine whether Bayley or Sasha had to go out first at fucking what was it? SummerSlam or something?
Yeah. Remember when um Jimmy was leading the karaoke?
I thought that was Jay.
Was it Jay?
I think so.
Hmm.
I'll never forgive him, but one way or another, I thought that was Jay. I'll never forgive a single writer involved for that.
Yeah. Forcing
That was quite.
Tamina into that.
That was quite literally like the moment that I just shut down on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That dropped me entirely. If we got TNT on our TV, I would just been like, "Fuck it, we're done." This is an AEW podcast now. I love Chris Jericho, I guess.
All right, so matches and promos.
Better to say. Yeah, sure.
All right, so we started off with bringing out the men's Raw Survivor Series team as a celebration that they won Survivor Series. It was a tie overall between the two brands, unless you consider the Battle Royale, in which case Raw won. They're always back and forth on whether they count the pre-show or not. But we had the team out there, and Adam Pearce was with them and kind of talking about the rest of Survivor Series. It didn't seem like anyone else gave a shit. But they then mentioned that they're going to decide among the 5 of them who should have a title shot against Drew McIntyre. And so they went one by one, giving an argument for why they should have that chance. And everyone kind of basically just gives their reasons. Sheamus just gets a little mad at Matt Riddle, Riddle, for still calling him Fireface. But then we get to Braun, who gets mad when Adam Pearce says, "Last but not least," as if being last is an insult and not being least is an insult. I don't know. It seems like a stretch.
Braun's like, I am first and least. You bitch.
Oh, yeah, and so he gets in Adam Pearce's face and headbutts him into the mat. And no other members of the team really help at all. But
Sheamus is busy yelling at Riddle, I think, in spite of all of that.
No, they were all watching.
Were they? Well,
mm-hmm.
I love the idea that last but not least is supposed to be like one of those things that it makes something less like offensive, I guess.
It's supposed to be a compliment.
You're last, but you're not the least.
Yeah, it's like
you're still equal.
You're on the same level.
And Caveman Braun said, "Last? What?"
He only hears every other word. Last but least.
I just feel almost bad for Adam Pearce because Adam Pearce has taken a fucking beating these last few weeks.
Yeah, but I think it's good because it not only does it add a William Regal type character to Raw and SmackDown, but they might be kind of leading up to him coming back to wrestling, which I would be into.
I feel like William Regal would like just stare Braun down and be like, "I will put you in so many gauntlets, your arms will fall."
I will put each of your limbs in a different gauntlet.
Against me. But I really hope that if Adam Pearce comes back, so does Pat Buck. I can get Adam Pearce and Cactus Pat as the upper office team.
Oh, yeah.
In the back office tag team.
Wade Barrett.
Stop. If Wade Barrett comes back, he shaves that beard, and I say, "I love you."
Samoa Joe.
It's like the alumni. Like, it's your, like, class reunion.
Yeah.
I just want
But
Wade Barrett to shave that beard so that I'm like, huh, that's not Wade Barrett. That's a different man. It's two faces.
but after
On one.
that, we have backstage the Hurt Business and the New Day. We start out with the Hurt Business, and the New Day come in, and the Hurt Business gives them shit for losing against the Street Profits. And there's a back and forth with insults and shit talking, and then Hurt Business challenges them again to a tag team title match. And so that's what we get right up next.
And if you weren't paying enough attention to that promo and didn't see the earlier this day tag at the bottom of it, I was like, wow, Xavier changed out of those jeans really fucking fast. Like a dipshit.
I'm still so mad that you said that.
I didn't see it. Anyways, we start with New Day versus the Hurt LLC. We get Xavier in, we get Shelton in. There's a massive takedown to Xavier. Shelton sets to pummeling Xavier. They start grappling a little bit. There's a knee right to Xavier's shoulder, and then a suplex. Shelton then kicks Xavier in the face. Knee strikes Kofi, who's not even the legal man at that point. Kofi gets in, though. Sends an elbow down to Shelton from the top rope. He then takes Cedric down off the apron. There's some forearms and a dropkick to Shelton, and then a Trouble in Paradise is attempted, but it misses. Then we get a kick to the face of Shelton through the ropes. Kofi goes up to the top ropes, but Shelton stops him. Kofi then headbutts Shelton back down. Cedric takes advantage of the referee not looking and yanks Kofi from the top turnbuckle, while I think Shelton was just yelling at John Cone about whatever. And then we've got Kofi and Cedric, and it's a double countout. And John Cone has seemingly made some new enemies at this point because MVP's like, no, that's not fair. That's not right. And I was like, well, they did stay outside of the ring until the count of 10, and that is how a countout works. So, thereby, New Day retains their titles. MVP gets back in the ring and says, we're restarting the match.
Mm-hmm.
And Kofi and Xavier are like, no, we are not.
Well, no. Just Xavier was like that, and Kofi was like, I've had enough of this. Let's just do it again.
Fair. Which, to be fair, Kofi was the one who was like, I don't really want to have this match at all, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
But MVP says, are you guys cowards, or do you want to come back here and finish this fucking match? And so they come back. Mike Rome has to re-announce the fucking thing from his little seat. Poor Mike Rome, pulling double duty. I need somebody to tell me what the fuck is going on with Greg Hamilton. I don't know. And I don't have enough insight to know.
Like I said,
because he's not taking time off if he's on 205.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think this match was kind of an indicator that MVP is kind of snapping today. Like he's having a very bad day.
Not doing hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, MVP. I mean, which is weird because like Bobby won the other day. Yesterday he won.
Bobby was the only champion that won for Raw.
Yeah.
But so much has happened with the Hurt Business today that I guess he's not in the mood.
No, he is not. Kofi and Shelton get back in the ring. There's a spinning back heel to Shelton, and then Shelton sends Kofi from the ring. Kofi lands hard on his poor little skinny knees. Cedric is the legal man. Cedric gets up to the second rope and does an elbow drop down onto Kofi. Gets a knee sub on Kofi. Tags Shelton in. Shelton does a nasty little fucking knee breaker to Kofi. Cedric gets back in. There's an elbow drop from Cedric to Kofi's knee. And then an Indian leg lock on Kofi. Shelton gets in. Cedric gets in. They're just tagging in and out and just trying to break the fucking knee in half. Kofi then loads Shelton out of the ring. Cedric gets in. Kofi sends him out too. Cedric takes Xavier off of the apron. Shelton gets back in. There's an SOS to Shelton from Kofi. Cedric gets in. A chop block to Kofi. And mind you, that is the word of the fucking day. Because that happened like 40 times tonight. First time I've ever heard them call it that. Like, I don't know. They got high on the fucking word today, I guess.
Yeah.
Then there's a leg bar to Kofi. Kofi kicks Cedric in the head to make some space between the two of them. Xavier gets in. There's a clothesline to Cedric, a heel to the face. Sheldon.
Sheldon.
From
The Big Bang Theory.
Shelton gets... Fuck you. Xavier lays Shelton out outside of the ring, then shoves Cedric down into the ropes, slides over Cedric onto Shelton's little shoulder, ringside. Then we get a face buster to Cedric, an elbow to the face of Xavier, and a DDT. We get a power slam to Xavier. Kofi breaks the cover, thank God. He throws Cedric out of the ring, bounces out of the ring on top of him. Then we get a sunset flip to Shelton. New Day retains their titles once again. Thank Christ. I was stressed. I had bad vibes written all over this match.
Yeah, I got nervous. As soon as the match started, I got nervous, especially when it started a second time. Got especially nervous. But after that, we move on to a promo with Adam Pearce, where he's being interviewed.
More promo marathon.
Yeah. He's interviewed by, is it Charlie? And he's asked about Braun Strowman and what's happening with that, whether he's still going to compete. Looks like he isn't. And he said if he had his way, Braun would be fired. Understandably, because that's why Nia Jax was suspended for attacking a Pat Buck.
For all of 5 seconds.
Clearly shows the favoritism in WWE. But then Bobby Lashley walks in and says, "Hey, I've got a proposition for you." And then Adam Pearce walks away with Bobby, and then we move on to another promo, which is an interview with Lana. No?
Mm-mm.
What was it?
We cut to commercial and we get the second Adam Pearce promo.
Oh,
wait. Sorry. No, yeah. No, I'm right. Promo 2 of 3. We went to commercial after that first one, and when we came back, Adam Pearce had just returned from talking to Bobby.
How many Adam Pearce promos are there? Because I had a second one in here after an interview with Lana. It's 3?
There is one after Lana. There's 3.
God. So is this where he announces that Bobby will also be as part of
No. That's the last one. What he does here is he comes back to the same exact fucking mark in front of the doctor trainer's office. Charlie's like, "Hey, what was that talk about?" And he just says Bobby made a strong case for himself, and the moment he's like, looks like he's kind of coming to a decision, Randy Orton comes in.
Oh, okay.
Or sad Randall.
But after that, we have an interview with Lana. Don't really know about what. This was very short. It was just
congratulating her.
Yeah. It was really it. We don't get really any important stuff with Lana till a little later on. But then we have another promo with Adam Pearce being interviewed by Charlie, where he mentions that Bobby Lashley will now be taking on Keith Lee to go to the triple threat next week. And yeah, then we move on to Riddle versus Sheamus in our first singles match to start the contention for the WWE title.
Adam has a very William Regal moment where he's like, "We're going to have a set series of 3 singles matches tonight, culminating in a triple threat next week. And then we're going to have a title match with whoever wins the triple threat." And I was like, William's backstage, isn't he? William's pulling the strings. He's the puppeteer.
As William Regal in an Adam Pearce skin suit.
We're going to find out that was never Adam Pearce at all. Ugh. I love William Regal so much. When's William coming back to wrestling?
Oh, man.
That's the real question.
I
you want a king of the fucking ring?
I love him too much as the Gauntlet guy.
I know. His one job at NXT, the Gauntlet Man.
War Games. He made
Churchill.
He made a big thing of saying that. Like, he announced on, like, TikTok or Instagram or something, and was like, I'm gonna say it. You ready? I'm gonna say it. Whoa games! Because that's how he says it. He says, like, whoa games. Everyone loves it.
I'm so in love with him. I'm so in love with him. So we have Riddle versus Sheamus. Riddle extends a hand, or a fist, rather, to fist bump, and Sheamus pushes it away, so Riddle comes back and shoves Sheamus into the ropes. So automatically we know Sheamus is going to start bleeding at some time in the next 5 seconds. They start grappling for a little while. There's an arm sub on Sheamus, and then an arm sub on Riddle. Riddle fights free and begins punching the absolute Christ out of Sheamus. Sheamus then clotheslines Riddle. He kneels on Riddle's neck and then starts arguing with Spider for a little while. There's a hammerlock into a takedown, and gets Matt into a leg scissors, and then at the same time a reverse arm lock. Like, we saw a very technical Sheamus tonight, which I kind of like seeing. It was a little different from my good old Irish boy. Riddle does some like weird shit to free himself from that. He pulls Sheamus into an armbar, but Sheamus gets a foot on the rope. There's a suplex to Riddle, followed by a knee strike to Riddle, and that sends Riddle out of the ring. Then, ringside, we get an exploder suplex to Sheamus. We get back in the ring. We have senton onto Sheamus. Sheamus begins punching Matt. Does the 10 beats of the Ballroom to Riddle. It was only 8. It's not 10. We get an Irish Curse backbreaker to Riddle, and then Riddle sends Sheamus into the post. He does his little bro kicks to Sheamus, and then Sheamus picks him up and does a massive fucking, seesaw spine buster to Riddle, just, whaps him down onto the fucking mat. Then we get a pump knee strike that just fucking kills Riddle. An overhead kick to Sheamus sends Sheamus out of the ring. Riddle gets up to the apron. There's a PK to Sheamus's chest, and then a moonsault onto him. Riddle goes up to the top rope. Sheamus catches him on the way down. The cloverleaf gets locked in on Riddle. Riddle manages to reach the ropes. He goes back to the 10 beats of the Ballroom, but it is countered this time into a modified Kimura on Sheamus through the ropes. Riddle then gets a nasty fucking leg sub out on Sheamus. That's not true. Sheamus gets a nasty fucking leg sub on Riddle. Riddle finally kicks Sheamus in the face to get the release. Another PK to Sheamus, and then a big boot or foot, in Matt's case, to the face of Sheamus. Riddle goes up to the second rope. Sheamus meets him up there and is pushed down. Sheamus gets back up and punches Riddle. We get to the second rope. We're having fun. Then a white noise. Somehow Riddle is not dead. We get a missed brogue kick, a sunset flip. Sheamus can't get the cloverleaf locked in. Sheamus then gets rolled up. Riddle wins. And I didn't mention this when we were talking about the promos because I kind of forgot to. When Bobby came out and Bobby was like, I want to challenge Drew. I was like, for fuck's sake. I just want literally anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean, I just... In this past year, we've seen Drew fight Seth, Bobby, and Randy. And that was fun. But, after seeing him fight Randy for 3 months, I think, wouldn't mind someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I got my wish at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the 3 it is when we get to the end of the day, but it's very promising for what we get. So I'm excited. But after that, we have a promo with Lana and Asuka. Lana's just backstage, and Asuka's just like, "Whoa, good job at Survivor Series. You must be feeling really great now. Like, you want a title shot? I'll give you a title shot. I love challenges. All right, let's have a title shot. Let's have a title match right now."
I loved it. I loved how Lana was just like, no. Asuka's like, yeah, sure. Why not?
And then we go right to a Firefly Funhouse. Where... Oh boy. So,
Rest in peace, Friendship Frog.
Bray and Alexa are starting off the Firefly Funhouse talking about an evil entity, an evil force known as friendship. And then suddenly Bray has war flashbacks to the Wyatt house burning down. Stares off into the distance. And then the friendship frog chimes in and says, friendship is actually a really great thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then Sister Abigail says, who the fuck are you? And he said, I'm the friendship frog. And Alexa Bliss says, let me show you, friendship frog, what I'm going to do to Nikki Cross later tonight. Braid covers like her face and with the, was it the pain, the hurt hand?
The heel. It was the heel.
Oh, it was the heel hand. Okay. Yes. Whispers in her ear. And then Alexa does the thing where she brings her head down, comes back up, her eyes are all glowy, whatever. And then she takes that brand thing, the brander, and then just beats the shit out of Friendship Frog. Just keeps beating on him over and 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 over. Just beats the shit out of him. When we cut back to him, he's just got green slime coming out of him. He's all crushed. He's just fucking dead. Friendship Frog is dead. Oh my god.
At least we got a lovely in memoriam afterwards.
We did. We got a very nice in memoriam showing a picture of the frog egg, a tadpole, all the way to being a frog, showing Friendship Frog going to college, graduating college, you know, living life, and lived from 1980 to 2020. So he was a 40-year-old frog.
I don't think that's canon in frog lore.
And then they were both very sad about Friendship Frog. And then Bray was just like, it's very unfortunate what happened to him. Oh, this was great. Oh my god. I never laughed so hard.
This promo actually kind of just took me and shut me down. I was like, alright, well, hey, we've got 2 hours left of this fucking show, and this is the best thing I'm gonna see.
So after that, we have Asuka versus Lana for the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, so Nia and Shayna walk out right at the beginning. Michael Cole.
Yep.
Michael Cole talks to them for a little while. God damn it, I hate Mondays. Tom Phillips, I believe, says, you know, hey, nice of you guys to join us. And Shayna's like, I should be the one that gets the title shot next. And I was like, actually, Shayna, you're probably right. That's actually a really fair point. But then Tom's like, Nia, do you have anything to say about that? And Nia basically murders him with her own very eyes. So a couple things happen. Nothing really spectacular. Then there's a knee to the face of Lana. Asuka ends up outside of the ring, and she kind of taunts Nia and Shayna get up and like yell at her, and they're like, how have you not already won? It's Lana. And so Asuka decides, fuck that, pours a bottle of water on the two. Nia grabs Asuka, goes for the Samoan drop through the table, but Lana frees her. And then they leave because Nia and Shayna, having attacked Asuka, DQ'd the match. So they go to leave, and Shayna and I are like, no, you started something. I come here and fucking finish it. And I was like, all right. Sure. Which brings us to Lana and Asuka versus Nia and Shayna. Two of the match. So we start with Lana sending her heel into the face of Shayna. Nia tags in. Nia pulls Lana down by the ponytail. There's a clothesline to Lana. She gets choked out against the ropes before Nia dumps her out ringside. Shayna becomes the legal man. Gets Lana back in the ring and begins just breaking her fucking neck and her leg at the same fucking time. We love efficiency in this house. Nia gets in. She drives Lana into the corner. She tags Shayna back in. Shayna begins pulling Lana's fucking leg clear over her head. Lana dodges Shayna, sending her from the ring. She finally gets to tag in Asuka. Asuka kicks Shayna from the apron and then hip checks Nia off of the apron. There's double knees to the face of Shayna and then a German suplex to Shayna and a shiny wizard to Shayna. Nia pulls Lana off of the apron to kind of void the tag possibilities there, and begins attacking her. She attempts to Samoan drop her into the desk, and for once in our lives, we have finally broken the streak. Lana dodges Nia, sending her clear over the announce desk. Shayna, for whatever reason, tries to attack Lana while Asuka's the legal person, with a Kirifuda clutch against the ropes. But Asuka takes advantage of this and rolls Bazsler up to win.
Yeah, actually, it was a surprisingly really good women's match on Raw. Shocking.
Sure.
Relatively.
It was better than it could be. It was better than it could be.
Yeah. After that, we had. Well, you did skip a little part.
Did I know?
There was a kind of promo, kind of advertisement with the WWE shop. We had R-Truth in the little like studio with a bunch of merchandise around him, advertising the sale happening at the WWE shop. Some of that stuff actually pretty cool. I kind of do want to buy some of it. Not sponsored.
I usually get one for $1.
Yeah. And then
not sponsored, but we could be.
No.
I'll sell out.
Mm-mm.
I sell out, but you don't.
Okay. Eddie Orengo randomly pops out from the desk, and those who don't know, Eddie Orengo is a ref, and that's a bad sign for R-Truth, because once a ref shows up, you know somebody's coming for that 24/7 title, and somebody tries. Drew Gulak comes up right behind R-Truth, tries to pin him, but the lights start flashing. And then the Fiend's screeching starts playing, and then Drew Gulak's, or R-Truth's like, oh no, the ref runs away first. He's like, nope, fuck no. And then R-Truth runs away, and then out pops the Fiend? But nope, it's just Akira Tozawa in a Fiend mask. And that was a nice little advertisement. That's an advertisement well done.
And then Akira steals something from the shop.
He just steals
the 24/7 pillow.
Yeah. It looked like a nice pillow.
Which, you know, respect. He seemed really shocked that the Fiend thing works for him, but he still didn't get the title.
He was in it for the scares. In it for the gasps.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Laughs are cheap. I'm going for gasps. You don't know what that's from?
I don't.
Oh my god, you're gonna kick yourself. Always Sunny.
Oh, no.
The Nightman Cometh.
Oh. You know, when you watch an episode so many fucking times that it just all becomes one fever dream? That's about where I am with everything but Mac and Dennis moved to the suburbs. That is still a poignant memory.
But after we finish the women's tag team match, we have a little promo. MVP's backstage, waiting for Bobby. And Riddle approaches MVP and says that he's got this great idea. He's got a great idea to pitch MVP. MVP says he doesn't have the time, he's not in the mood, whatever. And to just come back to him later. And then Riddle's like, oh, so like Shark Tank. And then MVP's like, yeah, like Shark Tank. And then he's
Far be it for me to defend MVP at any point in my life. My dude straight up had the face of like, I've gone through so much shit. And this is the promo I'm subjected to.
He was trying
This is
so
the talent I have
hard.
to deal with.
He was trying so hard not to laugh.
It was, you could tell because like his face was just dead.
Mm-hmm. But then MVP got into Riddle's face and said, if this idea you're proposing is a good one, then we'll do business. If it's not, then we'll do business. Yeah. And then after that we had Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley.
Potentially one of my most favorite matches that I've ever gotten to sit through.
Yeah, especially with Bobby.
Between the two of them, this was like such a fucking like. I kind of thought it'd be a cool match, anyways, because they're both big guys. Bobby's like jacked as shit. Keith Lee's got the mass.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is gonna be a cool fucking match. I didn't expect it to be so fucking good.
And it was great because Bobby couldn't use his Hurt Lock.
I know. We finally got to see that fucking broken. And I said, ma'am? And to start off, the best match I've ever fucking seen. Keith Lee touches Bobby Lashley's little titty muscles.
The beginning was so... It was so weird. They were so confused.
He holds Bobby's pec for a moment for some reason.
He's like, get away from me. Get away from me.
And Bobby shoves him into the fucking corner and holds him in a lockup. And Keith Lee just kind of shimmies
He's like
his way out of it. I was like, yeah, Keith, get into it.
Dance.
We're having fun. There's a tight wrist lock on Keith. Ashley tries to spear Keith, but it doesn't do a single fucking thing. Keith Lee just kind of stands there like, huh?
You what?
Keith begins beating Lashley in the corner. We get my least favorite name move, the Grizzly Magnum, to Bobby. Bobby dodges Keith and clothesline him, but just kind of powers Keith up. There's a flatliner to Lee, and then Bobby goes for the Hurt Lock, but Keith just like Keith's arms don't go over his fucking head, so it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Keith kind of gets like this momentum because it looks like he's about to cannonball himself out of the fucking ring onto Bobby. But MVP distracts him. And then Keith follows MVP outside of the ring. Goes to confront him and is clotheslined by Lashley. It still didn't look like there was like any fucking impact whatsoever though. Just because of like the way Keith Lee's neck is built. It just kind of like looked like it bumped him a little bit. Lashley pushes Lee into the barricade. Then Lashley fucking picks up Keith Lee, puts him on his shoulders, like, you know, little fur, like a mink stole. And at first, you could tell that he was trying to grab his head. It looked like he was trying to, like, go down with him on his back, but he couldn't get the head cradled at all. And you could see that, like, he was trying to reach it, but he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes forward to bash Keith into the post, but the weight is just so much that he then trips and falls forward, and then we have Lashley bleeding neon red for the remainder of the match. He's done this twice now. I don't know why his blood looks like that.
It was a great attempt. We can say it's the color of
it. It was. I was just gonna say we can say it's the color of his skin, but don't think that that's exactly the truth. What I think actually happened was I don't think that he was bleeding all that much. I think it was he skinned it. And obviously, like when you skin your skin, it's like much paler than your actual skin tone underneath.
And then the sweat spread it around, so it looked like a lot more than it was.
At least it wasn't like that one time where like there was like just droplets of blood running down his chest because like he cut like his ear or something.
Yeah.
Or bladed his ear. That's still up for debate. This was very clearly because I think he missed his step. I think he was probably supposed to run Keith into it and then offload him, but fell forward and probably just like smacked his head into the fucking post. We then get a neckbreaker to Keith Lee, and possibly the weirdest cover in the fucking world, where I believe it was Eddie who was the ref for this match. Lashley like stood up for a second from the cover and then came back down to do it again. And Eddie's like, no, you can't, because you stopped the cover and you can't just like go back down on it. You can't just choose, you know. But then there's some forearms to Lashley's chest, some forearms to Keith Lee's chest. Lashley then just fucking deadlifts and suplexes Keith Lee. And I said, by God, I did not think it could be done. I'd made a comment prior to this match and I was like, dude, I would just love to see Lashley lift Keith over his fucking shoulders. That'd be so amazing. And then he did it and I said, now I'm just scared. What can't you do?
He is inhuman.
I had to like lift those groceries on Saturday and my arms were like, I could feel my like left leg like trying to get up the stairs. And I was like maybe 50 pounds at best.
Are you comparing your grocery lifting to lifting Keith Lee?
More so, I'm comparing how weak I am in comparison to Bobby Lashley's feats of strength. Happy almost Festivus. Lashley is then in full bonkers mode. He's getting ready to do the hurt lock. He's setting up for it. Gets Keith Lee in it. This time it's a lot more successful. He gets Keith Lee's arms up over his head. No, he doesn't. That's a lie. I fooled you. And now you're a fool. Anyways, Keith Lee avoids the hurt lock. He avoids Lashley with a leapfrog, sending Lashley into the post. There's a shot to the ribs and then a shot to the face. Lee flattens Lashley, sending him out to ringside. He then does, I guess you could call it a power slam, but I'm going to keep calling it the Puma tackle because that's what it fucking looks like. Looks like when two cats are fucking fighting, they just go...
I accidentally heard it, or mistakenly heard it as power slide. I think a power slide's a good name for it.
I think Puma tackle still accurately depicts exactly what it is.
If it's running, yeah. But if it's in place...
I want to reprise the role of Frank Reynolds as Man Cheetah, and I will make that my finisher, the Puma tackle. It'll be a little discordant because they'll be like, well, she's a cheetah. A man cheetah, no less. And she's doing a Puma tackle.
A woman cheetah.
Anyways. Now that's the feminism we're all looking for. Halloween. I hate myself. So we get a Puma tackle to Lashley. MVP shoves Keith Lee into the post when the referee's not looking. And I said, oh no, night night. I don't want Bobby to get the win because I spawned a different challenger. Keith is then officially put into the hurt lock. And I almost fucking cried laughing. Because when they show a close-up shot of Keith Lee's head, his arms over, and then Bobby's little arms sticking through, it looks like Keith Lee suddenly has little miniature arms sticking out of him. I almost fucking cried. However, Keith Lee says, oh no, I'm not doing that, and brings his arms down and powers out of it. Holy fuck. Lashley then gets on his back, and as Mark and I always say, just fall backwards. And Keith Lee finally heeded our words, fell backwards, fucking won. Amazing goddamn match, because we got everything that I was looking for, plus we got Bobby Lashley in a fight. Which we have not had in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I do kind of understand why the Hurt Lock is hard to get out of. I don't understand why it like knocks people out so much, but I do understand watching Keith Lee power down from it, like getting those arms loose. I was like, oh, it's because it's not just that Lashley's holding your fucking arms up like that. It's that his fucking biceps are just so goddamn strong you can't get out of that. It made sense for a second. I still don't believe in it though. Anywho. Oh god, I still have another match to talk about. Okay. Well, we're actually powering through this pretty fucking well, which I'm shocked by. We then have Lexi versus Nikki right afterwards. Nikki's got a new fucking walkout song. So we start with a brutal fucking takedown, and by brutal I mean Alexa Bliss tripped Nikki, and then slammed her face first into the mat. They get out ringside because Alexa Bliss wants Nikki to chase her. Nikki clotheslines her, like just sending her ass first into the fucking ground. Cross gets her back in the ring and stomps on her for a bit. Does a bunch of like clotheslines while holding Alexa's hand, which I was like, friendship. You know, it's like into a clothesline, but still friendship. I was really feeling my inner friendship frog today. So Cross then smacks Bliss's head against the mat several times while screaming, "Listen, what?" You
skipped over 2 promos.
Well, I said, "Oh God, I've got another match to talk about," and you said, "Yep." I thought I had the green light. I didn't write anything else down. Can I finish this and then you can talk about the promos? Because now you've ruined my flow a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I can get through the rest of this.
Oh, so sad.
I'll try. I'm gonna try.
Okay, try your best. I believe in you. All right, so the first promo was. All right, continue.
I think I need to go to therapy or something.
Come on, continue.
I'd love to. Anyways, Cross does exactly what I want to do to Mark right now, which is smacks Alexa Bliss's head in the mat several times while screaming, "Listen." And then there's a senton to Bliss and a crossbody. And then Alexa Bliss gets the fucking Emmy for goddamn crying in the middle of the ring. And I said, I'd fall for that too, actually. She's crying in the middle of the ring and she's like, "I'm so scared. I don't know what's going on with me, blah, 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 blah." And Nikki's like, "Oh man, I'm a softie and it's my best friend." And she, helps her up and hugs her because I thought maybe this is over. Maybe it's a shred of Alexa Bliss coming back for us. But no, we get modified Sister Abigail to Nikki Cross, and God damn it, Alexa Bliss, I hate you so fucking much. I love you.
But before that match, we had a little montage showing Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross's relationship. Then going into a promo or an interview with Nikki prior to the match where she's asked about Alexa and she's like, "I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but I'm going to kick the Fiend out of Alexa Bliss." And then we have the match. And then after the match, we have another Taker tribute, some montage followed by interviews. And then we got a kind of a quickened version of the Survivor Series tribute. And then we had Randy versus AJ as our main event.
Yeah. This was a match, huh?
You don't like it?
No, I did.
Okay.
I'm saying it was a match.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, oh boy. Was really funny to me that, on top of the WWE filing for the Legend Killer trademark, we finished the Undertaker tribute right into fucking I hear voices in my head, and I said, okay. I guess we're doing this now.
Yep.
Fun times for Elizabeth. Styles starts off by rolling Randall up right off the bat. There's an uppercut to AJ that sends him down to the ground, a drop kick to Randall, but Randall still kicks out. Then Randy does the goofiest fucking thumb into the eye of AJ Styles while cracking himself up on the fucking mat.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting there laughing to himself. Randy then sends AJ from the ring, begins punching him around ringside. Randy throws AJ into Jordan, who stands there and is like, "That's my son. Please don't hurt him." And then gently lifts AJ back up onto the apron because Jordan's a good father. AJ sends a knee on the apron down to Randy. AJ then drops Randy into the announce desk. We go to commercial. When we come back, AJ is somehow now strung up in the corner, which is almost how every day of mine goes. I'm winning, and then all of a sudden I'm just strung up in the corner getting fucking chopped to fucking bits by Randy Orton. That's how every Monday goes for Elizabeth.
It's like when you go to sleep and you wake up to Randy Orton's song.
I'm peaceful, I'm having a good day, and all of a sudden I hear voices in my head, and I'm like a shot of cocaine to the fucking veins. Except you're like swallowing a shot glass full of cocaine. It's not pleasant.
With a little bit of barbed wire in there.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Just a little bit. For the spice.
Yeah.
Our lads get up to the second rope. Styles slips to the ground and pulls Randy headfirst into the buckle. We get a chop block to Randy, and AJ begins targeting the leg of Randy Orton. Randy punches AJ. AJ goes for the calf crusher, but Randy still handily frees himself. Randy drops AJ gut first onto the top rope, and then AJ then lifts Randy over his shoulder. Randy fights free. We get a neck breaker, but not an RKO. Actually, this was really cool because this was a neck breaker right onto Randy's fucking hip bone.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Judging by his physique, I have to imagine that would hurt. We unfortunately have a failed Draper DDT. Never fun for us. AJ frees himself and rolls Randy down for the calf crusher again. We get a Puma tackle to AJ. Randy Orton starts doing the gross. Yeah, sure, that's what you want to call it if you're on it.
Yeah.
Randy starts being gross Randy, doing his little, Randy Orton things. There's a missed RKO that ends in an enziguri to Randy's little head. Randy takes AJ's legs from under him, slamming him into the apron, and Randy takes a little respite against the fucking barricade. And all of a sudden, Fiend screeching music, Fiend, me, terrified. I am never scared of this fucker. And all of a sudden today, twice, which we'll get into in a second, that happened. I was like...
So he just peeked over the barrier.
I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, because I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been. And yet somehow that happened. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Also because, like, it's one thing when, like, the lights go out, because then I'm like, aha, darkness. Fiend. No, this was just screech, and I was like, this is worse than his fucking walkout song. Then Randy blocks the phenomenal forearm. We get a good Draper DDT in the books. Sadly, not a super cool noise coming from Randy this time. Yeah, he could work on it. Then Randy relaxes in the corner for a full fucking second. Lights go out. Randy Orton's looking around. I'm like, okay, Fiend is coming this time, and I know it. And then the Fiend pops up right over his shoulder, and I was like, Jesus. How am I still scared? They've done something to him. They have to have done something to him to make me so scared. I don't know what it is. But he's scarier looking now.
I think, yeah, he definitely looked a little different, but I think it was just his eyes.
I think they may have changed his contacts to being, because they used to be like kind of darker with a light center. I think that they're more like Alexa Bliss's contacts were in the promo.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I think it's like yellow. Hers are white, but I think his are more yellow now. And I'm like, fucking scared me to fucking bits. Anyways, Randy Orton's terrified. I'm terrified. We're together in this, at least. AJ just not even in the same mental zip code as Randy right now. Send some phenomenal forms off the fucking top rope onto the saddest little Randy Orton to win the match. I do love when the Fiend shows up and it's like the opponent just does not see him at all. Like, does not notice that the lights went out, does not hear anything. They're just like, and anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the match.
Great match. Really, really great match. Every match today was actually really, really good. Even Asuka vs. Lana was better than expected. But now, we'll get to that when we talk about the matches. Whenever you're ready to hang up the sign, take your time, putting the little sticker on it.
I feel like I'm being insulted right now.
Yeah, I understand. You need to make up for yesterday and how you lost the prediction, so you had to suffer my punishment, which was not being able to use the signs at all. I understand. You have to make up for it.
You know you live in the same house as me, right? You know that when the podcast ends, like, it's not like you die in, or rather, no, it is. You die in the podcast, you die in real life. Just remember that. Oh, good. My back's about to die. Fuck. Speaking of untimely death.
Oh,
Into the best of the nightmare.
All right, so start off with promo of the night. This is pretty decisive for me, but we'll still go through these very quickly. We start off with the men's Raw team talking in the ring. It was interesting. It was a bit fun. Gave us some story progression. Gave us an William Regal-esque title contention. So I'm down with it. Then we had the Hurt Business and New Day promo. It was short. It was to the point. Gave us what we needed, and that was really it. Then we had promo. We'll do this whole series of Adam Pearce promos in one. It was alright. It's kind of teasing more with Adam Pearce. Maybe, I don't know. I hope we see more of Adam Pearce, maybe in like a wrestling sense, but it was okay. The Lana interview. What?
So he's still young, so I mean, there's that chance.
Yeah. The interview with Lana was very forgettable, very short, so. Then we had the Lana and Asuka promo, which was funny because Asuka just straight up forcing Lana into that title match. I loved it. Then we had Firefly Funhouse, which made me cackle so hard with the Friendship Frog not only getting smashed to death, but also having the in memoriam right after, commemorating his entire life, including graduating from college. Oh my god, it was beautiful. It was everything I've ever wanted. I'm loving these violent but cartoonish Firefly Funhouses. It seems like they're really putting their all into these segments. I love them so much. Then we had the WWE Shop promo, which was fun for what it was. Then we had the Riddle MVP promo, which was good. I liked it. I enjoyed MVP trying really hard not to laugh. Then we had the Nikki montage and the interview, which were both okay. When we had the Taker tribute, which was exactly what we saw yesterday. So, it's no surprise here. My pick, probably for the 15th time in a row, it's Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. That was like the funniest shit in the world. They go very Adult Swimmy with it, I think.
Yeah.
It's like we're all having fun and games, and then you get brutal murder, and you're like, oh. Plus, every time, and maybe this is just my bias because Bray Wyatt and I are almost birthday twins. Every time Bray Wyatt's like, yeah, I'm over what?
The Raw logo's gone again.
How does this keep happening?
It disappeared. I don't know how it happens. It just goes away.
You've got to troubleshoot this.
As soon as I It's when I type out a promo that I hit transition, it just disappears. And it'll reappear for a second if I hit transition again, but then it'll disappear. So.
I don't know, dude. I was just gonna say that every time Bray's like, yeah, I'm over everything that happened with Randy. I'm over it. I'm over all of it. And then he has like violent flashbacks to Randy Orton burning the house down. Every time I'm just like, it's me. It's me. Every time I say I'm over something, and then my brain's just like, what are we? I'm like,
There's a real reason why Undertaker saw Bray Wyatt as the best writing that, or the best storytelling that WWE has right now. Like they put everything into it, and it's wonderful. But now,
yeah, I agree.
We should move on to Wrestler of the Night. I'm a little torn on this. Maybe, probably not. I don't know how you'll feel, but let's go through it. So we started off. I'll count both of these into one. Hurt Business versus The New Day. Great match, both of them. But I'm gonna put Cedric as my pick for both of these matches. He was brutal. He was desperate. He was giving us incredible moves while also giving us that passion in everything he was throwing out. Like he was the aggressive side of MVP today. Like MVP was frustrated. Cedric was that aggression fully coming out, not trying to hide it in any way. He was absolutely fantastic. And I wish we'd seen 205 Live when Cedric was like a huge part of it. Because I think that was like the peak of 205 Live, but I'm glad we have him on Raw now because he is just outstanding. Then we had Riddle versus Sheamus. I picked Riddle here. I thought both were great. It was hard to decide between these two. But at the end of the day, with this match, it comes down to personal preference. And I much prefer Riddle's style to Sheamus's, because Sheamus's is pretty simple. It's very brutal, but it's simple at the end of the day. Riddle's is very complex and traditional, and technical, and I really appreciate that style of wrestling. It's why I like Timothy Thatcher so much. It's why I like Dexter Lumis so much. But I don't think there was a whole lot of character, a whole lot of personality in Riddle's wrestling today. And I think that's kind of one thing that this whole side of Raw is kind of lacking, is that extra bit of personality and storytelling within these matches. After that, we had Asuka versus Lana. I gotta go with Lana because Asuka didn't really do much in this match. She was kind of just impressed by how Lana was acting, and so was I. Lana was like going all in this match, even though it didn't last very long. And it makes me really excited, actually, to see an actual title match between these two. After that, we had the tag team match between Lana and Asuka versus Shayna and Nia. I picked Shayna. This wasn't a very impressive match in general. I just really like how Shayna wrestles. I love the Karafuda clutch. I love all the types of grapples she does. And just how her aggression and her just toughness completely contrasts the rest of the women's division on Raw. But overall, I think we didn't see the best of her tonight. We didn't see the best of anybody in this match tonight.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good showing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that it's like the cute thing to do to be like, oh, Lana, like, you know what, you go, girl, like, have fun. I'm like, you know, this is like the thing that annoys me about women's wrestling, is that we watch these women who, like, I know are talented doing fuck all. And then you get people that are like Shayna and Asuka and Bayley and Sasha, where it's like, they're fucking amazing. and they earn what they get. And it's like, if this is how Lana's title push starts, you're gonna take like it's gonna take so much more convincing for me now because everything Lana has gotten so far is just like Lana being like, whoopsie poopsie.
Yeah, she's got to do something massive to really deserve that title push, and it's like massive to the point of Samoa dropping Nia Jax into the table. That's what it's gonna take.
She's like she's like the Steve Urkel right now of the fucking women's brand.
Yeah,
Or women's Raw brand.
she's the Captain Jack Sparrow, for those who know Pirates of the Caribbean.
I don't, but I agree.
So after that, we had Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley. This one, again, is hard to choose. I do almost want to go with Keith Lee, just because his personality did show in this match more than Bobby's. How he reacted to everything Bobby did, especially when he tried to do the Hurt Lock. You saw his personality come out more so than most people tonight. Keith really, really shined in this match, and I'm hoping we continue to get bookings like this with Keith, because we haven't gotten that yet. I think this is like one of his first clean singles wins being on Raw.
It's that new song. New
It
walkout
is.
song.
It is. We knew that as soon as that would come, things would change, and they have. But yeah, overall, I loved Keith Lee in this match. Fantastic. He was a whole different Keith Lee from what we've been seeing of him on Raw. Outstanding. Then we had Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss. It was Alexa Bliss, this match. I mean, come on. With that Oscar-winning performance that she had, and that modified Sister Abigail, and the fact that her whole fighting style today just seemed very lighthearted while she's delivering these like brutal hits to Nikki. It was so good. It was so good.
And the fact that she just pinned
Yeah.
I was like, Alexa, stop! You're killing me.
She
I'm
is
just
something
one
else.
woman.
She's really a bright spot in. I don't even know if you can consider her part of the women's division on Raw, just because she's like on a whole different level.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a little. It is like a very ambiguous area that she's in right now, and
Yeah.
for the best, I guess.
Yeah. After that, we had Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. Again, this one's tough for me. I think I want to go with AJ on this match, because AJ consistently impresses me. He is such a talented wrestler, and there's good reason why people love him so much and why he gets pushed so many times. He's a very talented wrestler who knows how to adapt. He is such a good mix of grappling and it's not showman wrestling. What's the type of wrestling that's like
Entertainment wrestling.
entertainment wrestling? He's a very good mix of those two. And he really showed it off today, because I mean, he's wrestling Randy Orton. You gotta show off your best when you're in that kind of match, and he really did. But again, just like with Riddle and Sheamus, he didn't really show off much of his personality. Neither Randy nor AJ did. It was a very toned down version of their characters, which you would normally get in matches like this. But if we had gotten that, it would have just bumped their performances up just even more. So, with all of that said, I'm torn on two. So if you pick the other one and disagree with me, I will go with you. But right now, I'm gonna say my pick for Wrestler of the Night, you probably won't agree with me, is Cedric Alexander.
Oh. Okay.
Can I explain a little bit, or do you want to go ahead?
I'd like to go ahead only because I didn't even register Cedric as a potential. I feel like I saw way more Shelton than I saw of Cedric.
Really?
And Shelton's not even my pick. Yeah.
Hmm.
And more, what I mean by that more so is that when I'm writing the notes, I'm writing down. I try to write down almost everything, but obviously I can't. So what I write down is the stuff that catches my eye in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
If like a big move happens, and then there's like a smaller couple of things, and then another big one. If I haven't finished typing out the bigger move, and the next big move happens, I go on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I mean, Shelton. Let me try to scroll up through the 10 pages of notes I have here. Cedric looked good, but I've seen a lot better from Cedric as far as emotionally. Honestly, I'm torn as far as my pick is between Keith and Bobby.
Ooh. My other pick was Alexa Bliss.
No, I really liked Keith tonight. I thought that his character shined through a lot. But I really liked Bobby too, because Bobby fucking lifted the entirety of Keith Lee
I am
into a suplex. He didn't stay there very long, but like he did it, and it was just. And I mean, I feel like we got to see a Bobby Lashley that like had to work tonight, and we have not seen that in a while. And I really liked fucking seeing it, because like I think the last time we saw Bobby have to fucking work for something was maybe against Drew. I mean, his matches against Apollo were pretty good, but after the 40th that we saw, it's like, whatever.
part of me wants to stick to my guns on Cedric, but also you make a really good point about Bobby. I'm almost ditching my two picks and want to go with Bobby just because we will never get a pick for Bobby Lashley ever again. This will be our only chance to pick Bobby for Wrestler of the Night. So I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley before you turn around and pick Keith Lee.
I really liked him tonight. I feel like I was watching somebody that like. I feel like I was watching an older version of Bobby Lashley, and that's not something we've gotten in a while, because I think that they were falling back on their laurels a little bit with writing him and writing out like and how like they did his matches and stuff like that, where it was like it was so. And then like tonight we got like vintage Lashley that like actually had to fucking do something, as opposed to just like crush Sammy or crush Ricochet.
I think this episode of Raw was very much a rarity. You won't see this kind of episode for like another few months. Everybody put in their all today, whether it was the wrestlers, the writing team, anybody. I think next week we're going to be going in with the expecting this week, and we'll be severely disappointed. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping we get the same level. But I'm just glad that we got what we got, and I'm glad that we got this version of Bobby. He was fantastic. You're right. He did put in the work, and he took a little bit of pain for it. Yeah.
And I think coming off of a Sami Zayn match where it was like Bobby got a little roughed up, but that was about it. I think coming off of that match made this match seem even just that much more spectacular, where I was like, oh fuck, Bobby Lashley's a wrestler.
Yeah.
Not just like a fucking battering ram of a human being. Stunning.
All right, so match of the night.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure I didn't make it obvious what I'm going to choose.
I'm pretty set on it too, even before we start talking about this. So we started off with the Hurt Business versus the New Day. We'll count both of them as one. It was a great match. It was. I don't think it was as good as the last time we saw them wrestle. That was like that was incredible. But this was still great because you have the best tag team in the world, the New Day, against the best new tag team right now, the Hurt Business. It was great. It was fantastic. It could have had a little more to it. I loved MVP's desperation in both this and the Keith and Bobby match. But it was still great. Having Riddle versus Sheamus up next. It was a really good match. It was a very good match between these two, even though we've seen this before. It felt fresh. It felt like, it felt like a main event match from SmackDown. That's how all of these singles matches felt. They felt like main events, every single one. I really liked how both wrestlers showed up, and nobody really underperformed. But again, there was just that extra little bit of a little personality missing there. The final piece to the puzzle was gone. Then we had Asuka versus Lana. I thought this match was pretty good. It was okay. If it had gone on and actually had a finish, even if it was just Asuka winning, just to show off Lana being actually a formidable force, I would have really enjoyed this match because it had a great start. But now the next time we see these two, it's gonna be, you're not gonna have Asuka impressed in Lana because she already saw her form today. We're not gonna have that moment, which sucks because I would like that moment in a full match. Then we had the tag team match between Lana and Asuka versus Shayna and Nia. It was okay. It was all around decent. I'd say even considering Lana versus Asuka, this was the worst match we had today.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's up against half of a match, and that half of a match was better than this full match. It's weird. I think it all comes down to character development.
Yeah.
Get
that.
Okay. Then after that, we had Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley. A fantastic match between these two just pure heavyweights. Like, we saw Bobby at some of his best. We saw Keith Lee at some of his best. We haven't seen this Keith Lee since he was on NXT. And I'm glad we have him back. I'm glad he's now hyped up and actually excited to wrestle again. This whole match was fantastic, even though it ended with MVP's interference. The interference happened for a reason, and it wasn't cliche. It was MVP just so fucking mad at his whole business that he tries to just take it in his own. He's had enough, but in doing so, he fucks up Bobby's chances. You don't see that too often. It wasn't like sneaky interference where it ends up in their favor. This fucks everything up. What?
I'm just realizing I didn't mention MVP jumping into the match at all.
Yeah.
When recapping the Bobby Keith match. I got so excited about Keith doing what we wanted him to do that I forgot that MVP jumped in and got Bobby DQ'd. I feel like a fool. This is what happens when I don't write things down in my notes. I just completely forget that it happens.
But I guess it also shows, although it was kind of a cheaper ending, and it wasn't like a clean pin, it still doesn't ruin the quality of the match. And you can have those kinds of...
We've had plenty of that.
Yeah, you can have those kinds of endings and still have an amazing match. And this is a perfect example. After that, we had Nikki versus Alexa. This was a perfect example of perfect character and character development and okay wrestling. Alexa was great. She had some good moves. Nikki was kind of non-existent for a little bit. It was very short, but the amount of character and acting that we saw from Alexa Bliss was just amazing. Joining the Firefly Funhouse is literally the best thing that's ever happened to her wrestling career, in my opinion. And then lastly, we had Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. A great match in and of itself. A little bit watered down of the two of them, especially Randy. Having the Fiend's appearance is kind of a cheap way of having AJ win. Although I very much enjoyed The Fiend appearing, it did kind of... It gave... It protected Randy a bit. Still enjoyed the match. It was still a lot of fun. But I don't think it was on the kind of level that could be the best of tonight. So, with all that said, I know you don't disagree. And my pick for match of the night is Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I obviously can't disagree with that at all. I love this fucking match. I don't say this lightly. I think the last time I said this was probably for Roman and Jay at Hell in a Cell, and after that, I don't even know when I would say the most amazing match I've seen was. But this was a fucking stellar match. I really liked it. Between Keith Lee getting to finally be the Keith Lee that we know him to be, between that and Bobby Lashley just being a goddamn Goliath of a human being, and MVP snapping a little bit finally, it had everything. It was just such a well-rounded match, and like that was like, we've seen a lot of matches that ended in DQ, and we were like, well, this is fucking stupid. But Keith Lee obviously won that, in my eyes. And that DQ was something like, okay.
Yeah, it didn't affect the predictable outcome based on how the match was going. It just gave some extra character development along the way. And I'm really wondering where the Hurt Business is going to be going after today, because you had a huge loss from Shelton and Cedric, and now from Bobby.
And their CFO kind of is like losing his marbles a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They're scattered out on the floor. Can't wait to see where this goes. Because, I mean, the way that they were building it up, it looked like they were going to be the next Undisputed Era with, like, all the gold. But now it looks like they're farther from that than they ever could possibly be.
Yeah.
So.
But to run it back, our promo of the night, Firefly Funhouse, where Alexa Bliss kills Friendship Frog. Wrestler of the night, Bobby Lashley. Match of the night, Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley. Liz, would you like to wrap us out?
I would. Thank you for joining us for our first in a very long time, under 2 hour Raw podcast. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. If you tuned in tonight, we really appreciate it. Thank you for following. And if you didn't tune in tonight and you're watching in the future, maybe you're watching while you have your socially distanced Thanksgivings, ideally with not your entire extended family, I'm begging you. We already have so few viewers as it is.
Only direct
we need
family.
all of you. Yeah, we need all of you to stay alive for our own selfish intents. So, if you're watching this in the future, I hope you're having a good day. And a safe day. Please tune in on Wednesday when we watch the Undisputed Era, one member of the brand. Because nobody formally announced it, but they're obviously fighting in the cage match. Winner gets the advantage, and we're also watching Candice and Shotzi fight, I guess. I'm really excited because I have been dreaming of War Games since we started watching NXT.
Thanks for
watching.
watching.
Also, I've been dreaming of Undisputed Era coming back, because they were all dead for like 4 weeks.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, hit the follow button down below. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Both times you'll be notified whenever we go live or put up a new podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out the live show, twitch.tv/the Pinfall Podcast. We can talk to you live instead of you just leaving comments on our YouTube videos, although we do appreciate it. If you're watching the live show...
Please leave a comment.
What?
I said please leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment, even hit the like button. If you're watching the live show but want to see the rest of this podcast, want to see previous ones, our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. Check out our Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. It still slips my mind what it is. We post whenever we go live on there, as well as live tweet some episodes. We post funny memes and react to a whole bunch of wrestling stuff. It's a good time. Why not go watch? Also, I realized I'm wearing red for Raw. I didn't even realize. Anyway.
I'm wearing gray because I'm sad.
Yeah, I know. And also follow our personal Twitters. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And check out the Universal Pokemon Federation on YouTube. It's a project we're all working on. We've got a big title shot coming up soon. Imagine wrestling mixed with Pokemon. It is so awesome. It's so much fun. It's a great time. Go watch it. The Universal Pokemon Federation on YouTube. You will not want to miss a single second of it. Everything's awesome. Ton of stuff coming up. And follow my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great night, everybody.
I have to defrost a turkey.
Woo!